One ticket has been punched to tomorrow night's men's championships at the 2020 Great Northwest Athletic Conference Men's and Women's Basketball Championships. Western Washington will be there. Who will the Vikings' opponent be? Well, it'll be one of the two teams we're going to see in action next here at Brougham Pavilion. University of Alaska Anchorage, the 5th seed, against the top-seeded Falcons on their own home court, Seattle Pacific University. Well, welcome back to Brougham Pavilion. I'm Robert Lowry, Dustin Daniel alongside, and great first semifinal matchup. And again, we're expecting a great one today. Though Seattle Pacific actually won both previous meetings with the University of Alaska Anchorage. We talked about this yesterday. The adage is hard to beat a team 3 straight times, especially an opponent the quality of the University of Alaska Anchorage.
Yeah, and the two matchups they had during the regular season, those were both close games, a 9-point win and a 6-point win for the Falcons, and they needed to shoot 56% in one of those games just to get the Seawolves by single digits. So this has been a tough matchup all season for SPU, but they have been able to come up on top too. And so this will be the first time during the GNAC Championships that we get to see the hosting team play on their home court. So it's going to be a little bit different style of a basketball game for Alaska Anchorage. Not quite the same matchup as they had against Northwest Nazarene yesterday, as they will have to be facing a hostile crowd and a team that is very used to shooting on this floor. Also, Seattle Pacific, with the run they've had this season, a tough team no matter where you play them. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup to see how Alaska Anchorage is able to respond to a little bit different style of play.
Well, it's very interesting to note the fact that Seattle Pacific University started the season 0-4, and I think a lot of people were scratching their heads and going, what happened to the Falcons? Well, they caught fire then, and they were seemingly unbeatable through the late season. They at the end of the year, they have maybe not played quite as well as they did during their long stretch run there, where they just were beating teams night in and night out. But still, this is a very dangerous Seattle Pacific University team being led into today's contest by the 2020 GNAC Coach of the Year, Grant Leap.
And you look at those first 4 games of the season. Now, a couple months in, you're wondering, how could this team start 0-4? But now that we're at the end of the season, of those 4 losses, Seattle Pacific has losses against the number 2, 3, and 4 teams in the West region. Now, another one of those losses against Stanislaus State, not a bad team either. They finished 15-13 during the regular season. So as we look back now, it makes a lot more sense why they had such a tough start, just because the non-conference schedule this year for the Falcons so competitive. After that, they decided to roll out 14 wins in a row. And since that 0-4 start, 22-2 on the year.
22-2. Boy, oh boy. And their only losses came to the Vikings, who they could be facing in tomorrow night's championship contest. But the University of Alaska has a lot to say about that. Yesterday, they scrapped and hung tough and finally came away with a victory over Northwest Nazarene University. And this is a team that you got to think is going to give Seattle Pacific University really some matchup problems out there, the way that they like to play. And, of course, we're going into Pantovic on the inside, the big fella, Augie Pantovic on the inside. Didn't have a particularly great game yesterday. I expect him to come on and play better today.
Yeah, he didn't start the GNAC Championship certainly the way he wanted to. Had some issues with ball control. Gave up 3 early turnovers early in that first half yesterday against the Nighthawks. He certainly slept on that, thought about the way he played. I'm sure he had a conversation with Rusty Osborne as well about turning his game around. So the difference between these two teams in this game, Alaska Anchorage, a little bit bigger, a little bit fiercer on the post. Seattle Pacific, longer, more athletic. We're going to find out today if the Seawolves are going to be able to keep up with the conditioning of the Falcons.
And the Falcons led by a tremendous point guard in Devontae Moffitt. Moffitt, kind of a do-it-all point guard, quick point guard, can score, can distribute. He's been leading this Falcons team very, very well throughout the course of the season, and we talked about it during the course of game number 1 here today. Harry Cavill, Defensive Player of the Year for Seattle Pacific University, is going to be on the floor. It's going to be interesting to see because Harry has got some size to him. Would they possibly try to match him up with Pantovic on the inside?
They could. You have the Defensive Player of the Year, and you want to put him against the best player, but Pantovic, he just has so many more pounds on Cavill that it could be a tough matchup for Harry. A little bit undersized to go up against a guy like Augie. He'd be muscled around a little bit, but maybe a couple possessions they tried early on, tinker with it. If Harry is able to hold his own, maybe they stick with it. I can't imagine that's going to be in the cards today, though.
Well, and another thing that's going to play into today's contest, turnovers. Which team can hold on to the ball, which team will not turn it over. And both these teams are very good in that respect. They like to force turnovers. They don't turn the ball over much themselves, and that could be a very telling tale here. Boards in terms of University of Alaska Anchorage, maybe turnovers in Seattle Pacific University in their column. Those are going to be two things we're going to want to keep an eye on here today.
As we look at this matchup and in talking about those rebounds yesterday, NNU able to get underneath a little bit on Alaska Anchorage and take Augie Panovich off the blocks like he wanted to. Now, looking back to the first two times these two teams matched up and how the boards would roll out, Alaska Anchorage only had 6 offensive rebounds against Seattle Pacific in their first matchup. SPU had 12, so a huge advantage there for the Falcons on the offensive rebounds. Now, the second time out, SPU was limited to 6 offensive rebounds. Alaska Anchorage bumps their total up to 11. So perhaps the Seawolves learning their lesson and taking away those second chance opportunities. They also cut their loss in the second meeting, only lost by 6 that second time as opposed to the 9 the first time. Yeah. So if they are able to limit those offensive rebounds again for Seattle Pacific like they were able to do in that second meeting, take away those second chance opportunities for the Falcons, they might be able to stick in this basketball game.
First meeting was back on the just at the new year on the 2nd of January. That game was right here in Brougham Pavilion, and it went to Seattle Pacific 83-76. The Falcons actually outscored the Seawolves by 2 in the first half and 5 in the second half. So it was a pretty close game, and a bit closer up there in Anchorage in the rematch. There was just almost exactly a month later on the 1st of February as the Seawolves lost at home to the Falcons 79-73. And again, the Falcons in that game actually led by 8 at the half. The Seawolves were able to cut it by 2 in the second half. They outscored the Falcons by 2 in the second half, but never were able to pull away for the victory. And as you mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, in that second meeting, Seattle Pacific had to shoot a 64% first half to get out to that 8-point lead, and they were able to make it stand up as they shot 56% from the field for the contest, as the University of Alaska Anchorage at home only hit on 37% of their shots up there in the Alaska Airlines Center. And that's a bit of a surprise because generally Alaska Anchorage shoots pretty well at home in particular. Now, in the game that was played here, both teams under 50% from the field in that contest. That's a great look there at Seattle Pacific University as they're warming up for tonight's contest. And the Falcons are going to be the home team and their home hardwood. And again, Seattle Pacific is a team that plays extremely well here at home. And again, this is not a neutral floor game for them. This is a home court game for the Falcons. And as you mentioned, they should be well versed at shooting here in their own home gym. How much do you think the home court plays into this here today?
This will be the first time in these championships that we're going to see this floor actually make a big difference. We had talked about MSUB not winning a neutral site game coming into yesterday, and that stood as the Yellow Jackets finished the season 0-4 in neutral site games. I still don't think it's going to play that much of a factor when we're dealing with teams on this floor that are not Seattle Pacific University, because it has a lot less to do with the environment here when you're playing another team that is not from Seattle, and much more to do with the fact that the Falcons have had thousands of reps on this floor over the summer, into the fall, now into the season. They are so comfortable playing on this floor. They understand how it's going to feel getting the ball in the corner, up against the media table, up against the bench, over on the other side against the crowd, knowing what the depth perception is going to be like with the glass and the paint behind it. Everything about this floor goes to their advantage.
And the interesting thing is, as you say all that, on the season, the Falcons lost more home games than they lost road games. They lost 3 here at home, and they only lost 2 on the road, though they did lose a neutral site game as well. So, interestingly enough, the home court advantage, well, we'll see if it plays out here today. And again, a lot of times we've seen in this GNAC tournament, the team that has played the first day, as you see Rusty Osborne speaking with official Matt Mason there, the team that has played the first day, sometimes in the second day is a little bit sharper, and the team that had to sit out the first day sometimes seems to have a little more of a tough time getting going.
Yeah, Seattle Pacific got the rest yesterday, and certainly maybe late in the second half that will play to their favor.
Yeah.
But just as far as getting loosened up and back to action, this isn't the typical Thursday, and both teams have had 5 days off.
No.
Alaska Anchorage is 24 hours removed from a basketball game, a tough-fought battle with Northwest Nazarene, and they're ready to go. They're hot in this tournament. So Seattle Pacific's going to have to try and catch up very quickly.
We say 24 hours, actually 22 at the end of the game yesterday, so even less rest than that. Starting lineups being introduced, and we'll go ahead and do them as well. Alaska Anchorage will be the first team, the visiting team in the gold uniforms. And the first player introduced, Nico Bevins, 6'6 senior, Beaverton, Oregon. Tyrus Hosley, who I thought really was kind of a key to the win, next introduced in yesterday's game, 6'1 senior out of Vancouver, Washington. He'll play the point. There's the big fella we talked about, Augie Panovic, 6'7 junior out of Kovan, Serbia. There's Jack Mcdonald. We'll talk a little bit about him, the Melbourne, Australia product. Very heady guard is McDonald, 6' senior from Melbourne. And the final senior, or the final starter, I should say, introduced as well. And I'm going to have to double check and see who they introduced as the fifth starter. Falcons, there's the Defensive Player of the Year, Harry Cavill, the first player introduced. Yeah, obviously Tobin Carlberg is the other Alaska Anchorage starter. Second Seattle Pacific player introduced, Shaw Anderson, freshman of the year, and why not the way that young man has played. We'll talk more about him throughout the broadcast. That's big Phillip Fullerton, 6'9 redshirt freshman out of Beaverton, Oregon. Devontae Moffitt talked about him in our pregame, 6'2 sophomore out of Spanaway, and this is a very, frankly, young Falcon team. And there is Gabe Colosimo, senior out of Sandy, Utah. You look at this Falcons team, as we mentioned. Seniors, Colosimo. That's it. That is it. One senior on a team that went 22-6, 18-2 overall. So the starters again, Moffitt, Cavill, Colosimo, Fullerton, Anderson for Grant Leap, the GNAC Coach of the Year in his fourth campaign, 73-41. Tyrus Hosley, Tobin Carlberg, Nico Bevins, Jack McDonald, Augie Panovic for Rusty Osborne. Osborne, now veteran, 15 years as head coach. He's led UAA to 268 wins, 150 defeats over the past 14 years. And this year, Seawolves go 19-13, 11-9 in GNAC play. Seattle Pacific, 18-2 in GNAC play. Set for action here in semi number 2. And the ball in the air and the tip into the backcourt. Bevins comes up with it and we're underway.
Both a little bit awkward timing on the jump for both sides. Panovic just happens to be the beneficiary of it, tipping his way.
McDonald has Cavill on him to begin the game. They get it to, actually, Carlberg had him, and McDonald shot the three to begin the contest, missed it. Moffitt down floor, here's Cavill. I really like that kid's game, Cavill. He's very smooth on both ends. Moffitt takes it across the top, now out to Cavill, dumped down inside into the corner, back out to Cavill as Seattle Pacific works the perimeter. Now they'll go ahead and take a long-range three, and dropping it down from the deep corner, it is Phillip Fullerton. So Fullerton with a triple to begin the contest as Seattle Pacific has the early lead. Bevins and Hosley play catch across the top. Right now, Colosimo has a defensive assignment on Hosley. Around a high screen does Tyrus. Now to McDonald. Moffitt on him defensively. Dumped down low. And here's the big fella. Panovic knocks the shot down. Now are they going to allow that or not, as the shot clock was right down?
They're going to take a peek at it.
Yeah, that was very, very close, and the officials are going to come to the sideline here and take a peek. But Panovic got loose on the baseline, turned, shot, and was able to knock it in. Now, we should probably mention in the meetings previous this year, Panovich, another first-team All-GNAC performer, had a double-double in that first meeting here. 16 points and 10 rebounds. And in the meeting up in Anchorage, a double-double as well. 21 points and 12 rebounds, but he is going to be seeing his basket erased there as the officials came over, took a good long look at it, and decided, nope, the shot came after the time had expired. Now, Mark Cook, Matt Mason, and Jess Liebman are the officials here tonight. Moffitt double teamed to bounce up ahead. Colosimo, cross court to Cavill, back out now to Moffitt. And again, just a sophomore point guard. Jump pass. They work it near side to Cavill. Ball knocked away, and a steal. Down floor, Carlberg going to shoot a three in transition, miss it. And Moffitt attacks up the side court on the left.
The first two shots in this game for Alaska Anchorage, three-pointers. Neither will go yet as they still look for their first bucket 2 minutes in.
Rebound by Mcdonald, gets it off to Hosley. And Bevins with a quick three, and he knocks it in. Boy, oh boy, that was a quick release by Bevins off the flip pass, right straight on, and he knots the game for the first time here tonight.
Nico Bevins, very dangerous offensively. If this is a kid that can get hot for the Seawolves, they could very well go on a run.
Baseline, Cavill pull up, jumper, misses the shot. Bevins is able to clear the glass. And down floor, Hosley dumping into Panovich. They work the perimeter. Bevins says, let me try another one. This one no good, though, and Cavill rebounds. Harry is a big guard at 6'6". And he can rebound inside. Here is Moffitt. Backs down, turns, shoots off the back of the rim. Rebound tipped out, and the Falcons maintain control of the basketball. Baseline pull-up pop. That's going to come up quite short by Anderson, the freshman out of Kelso, last year's Washington State Player of the Year. Bevins, why not? Casts off for another three. Heat check there by Bevins and not able to get the shot to drop. Moffitt into the forecourt and a 3-all tie. Colosimo attacks, shoots, hits, and he'll go to the free throw line on the foul. That was a nice drive by Gabe Colosimo.
You talked about the lone senior on this Seattle Pacific team, able to deliver. Gets himself a little bit off balance just as a result of the contact with Carlberg underneath, but then is able to put it up from the left side, uses the glass, and sends himself to the line.
Seattle Pacific as a team from the stripe, very solid, 80%. And there's the free throw that again makes it a 3-point lead for the Falcons. Grant Leap, who played his collegiate basketball at University of Washington, sees Bevins cast off again for three.
We haven't seen anything like this in this tournament yet. First 6 shots from this game now for Anchorage have all been from three-point range. Maybe it was in the scouting report, and this is going to be a perimeter game for the Seawolves.
Well, if they can hit like that, they'll be in it. But Cavill with the step through misses the shot. That was a brilliant move by Cavill, but wasn't able to complete it. Here's a lob up ahead, and Carlberg not able to come down with the pass from Hosley. Moffitt forecourt now Falcons as they bring it back down floor. Step back pass, they work it into the left corner. Baseline, return pass on the wing, long three, Cavill good.
As a good extra pass, Colosimo driving from the corner. Draws the help defense. That'll bring in the man defending Cavill and open him up. Gets a couple of steps extra and is able to drill the angle three.
Hey, overseas basketball scouts, look at Harry Cavill. Here is Pandovich out to Bevins. Jump pass Hosley into the corner. Mcdonald going to attack, go inside. Up and under with a right hand for the deuce. Well, they can score 2-point shots as well. At least right there.
First
9
time
to 8.
we've seen him done it.
Yeah. Moffitt attacks, kicks it to the right side. Cavill says, I'll try it this side. Misses it. Rebound, Hosley. And Tyrus going to bring it forecourt. Pantovich follows him down floor, pulls up the free throw line and hits it. And look at that. University of Alaska Anchorage has its first lead of the contest. 5 minutes deep. Why not just go right down to the wire again? Why not? I tell you, the fans are getting their money's worth at this year's GNAC Championships. Baseline, Anderson turns, shoots, and hits. Shaw Anderson, 6'6", as we mentioned, freshman of the year in the Great Northwest Athletic Conference. He has come in and not really missed a beat this year, and he has been I don't know if he's been a surprise, but he has certainly been a tremendous addition to this Falcons team.
He certainly surprised me in the one time I've gotten to watch Shaw Anderson play before this. Hasn't missed a start this year, only averaging 12.9, but this is a kid that on a couple of occasions has been able to go for more than 30.
Timeout on the floor. We got a good one going once again. First timeout here, as you can see right there. Anderson, the youngster we were just talking about, going inside, scoring the basket for the Falcons. It puts them back in the lead as we step aside 11-10. Seattle Pacific at this year's 2020 men's semifinals of the GNAC Basketball Tournament. Well, welcome back here to the Seattle Pacific University Royal Brougham Pavilion. It is 11-10, Seattle Pacific with the lead. University of Alaska Anchorage with the basketball underneath their hoop. They inbounded to Panovich, and he'll get it to Hosley. Cross courts it to Mcdonald, long two, good. Jack Mcdonald with the deuce. He's come off the bench. He's been in a starting role. He has been valuable for Rusty Osborne regardless of what the role has been. Seattle Pacific with a new player in and knocks down the long shot on the left baseline, as that was Brayden Olson. Olson with his first three, also playing inside Mehdi Almardi, and you can see him matched up there with the big fella, Almardi, out of Morocco. And there's a look at Mehdi, at least there he is, a good look at the young man. He's matched up. He was matched up with Panovich, but Panovich now going to take a breather as Tyler Brimhall, who played well yesterday, back in, and well, his first touch of the basketball there. Sets a screen. Hosley uses it, and he'll back it out. Shot clock at 6, and he'll take an NBA three and front rim it right there. Offensive rebound put back inside, and look at that, Carlberg, who's not that big of a guy, only a 6-footer out of Anchorage, gets the rebound, gets the bucket, and gets the game into a tie.
We talked about that in the pregame. If Alaska Anchorage is able to get on those offensive boards, create those second chances like Carlberg just did, going to present a couple more opportunities to chip away at Seattle Pacific.
Here is Moffitt, flip it off left. Boy, a lot of contact on this shot there, missed by Olson. The offensive rebound. One of the Falcons was able to, somebody hit it and it went out of bounds. I guess it must have gone off a University of Alaska Anchorage hand. And here is another change. Sharif Khan is going to check in. Sharif going to replace who? Boy, this is a surprise. Mehdi Almardi is going to come out. And so the Falcons now are going to go just a little bit small. Anderson at 6'6" will be in the pivot. Cavill will be up front as well. And the three guards of Olson, Kahn, and Moffitt. Cavill inside, stepped up and in and scores it. He faked like he was going to go all the way underneath, came up on the short side and scored it with the Falcons now taking a 2-point lead. But Carlberg returns, shot in the corner is up and good. Not Brimhall. That was once again hitting it from the outside. Bevins.
That's his third three-pointer of this game already. 3 for 5. All of the shots he has taken have been from beyond the arc. 9 points for Bevins.
Look at Cavill posting up the smaller Carlberg. Turn, shoot, and rims off right. And now Hosley going to bring it down floor with the Seawolves in a 1-point lead. McDonald circles, takes it inside. They work it to the far side, and the three ball is up and good. Tobin Carlberg with the triple, and University of Alaska Anchorage with a 4-point advantage. On the baseline, Moffitt double-teamed floater on the end line right and got it to drop. That was a very athletic play.
Yeah, tough layup to get from Moffitt. Team's leading scorer throughout the season, and that's his first bucket of the game. With that, Seattle Pacific, 6 different players to score in this game already.
Well, and that's exactly what Grant Leap. That's a Grant Leap offense, or a Seattle Pacific offense, frankly. They always like to get a lot of players involved in it. Hosley, guarded by Anderson on a switch, drives inside, puts up a floater in the lane, misses it, tips up his missed it again, goes after it, rebound knocked around, and Olson comes out with it. Up to Kahn on the near side. He is a three-point threat. Olson's already hit a three. Olson running the point here. Crossover drive, pass left. Moffitt had a three, but actually hit the sideline with his foot for the turnover. Kahn out, and for the Falcons, Colosimo going to return, and, well, we've come to a timeout. 10:58 left in this opening half of play. A two-point game. That's all we've seen at the 2020 Men's and Women's GNAC Basketball Championships here on GNAC.TV. And you can see there is Nico Bevins casting off for three. Bevins casting off for three. And Carlsberg going to cast off for three. Bing, bang, boom. Oh, there's another one. Let's give Bevins another shot from the top of the circle. Well, I tell you, he's got great range, long range, and he is showing it here today. Carlsberg, we saw him shooting threes yesterday too.
Nico Bevins with the three-pointers he's already made in this game.
Yeah.
He is one away from tying the Alaska Anchorage single-season record for three-pointers made. He's got 112. Kyle Fossman set the mark at 113 back in the 2013-2014 season. He had a 12 three-pointer game back in that season.
Let me tell you something. He'll get the record today. You can mark it down. He may get it here before the end of the first half.
Well, the way he started certainly wouldn't be out of the question. Over 30 minutes left in this basketball game.
Mcdonald with a tough runner in the lane into the double team, who was able to knock it in. So UAA still on top. Olson playing a lot of minutes here. Shaw Anderson goes down inside, and there's Cavill using that size on the inside. He's listed as a guard, but he at 6'6", long and lean, and he's got the moves on the inside where he can be effective in the paint as well.
Yeah, flexible swing, man. Really love to see him performing this well. He's from my alma mater, McNary High School down in Kaiser, Oregon.
And here is the shot from the outside, missed by Hosley. Offensive rebound taken down by, oh, look who got in there. Carlsberg got in there again and got fouled. Here's the shot. And look at Carlsberg on the inside coming up with the basketball and getting fouled. Boy, the little guy going inside and banging around with the big guys. And he goes to the free throw line now, does Carlsberg. And he hits the first free throw. 10:03 left in this first. Devontae Moffitt going to return. Shaw Anderson is going to take a seat now. And Seattle Pacific also going to bring Phillip Fullerton back in too. Carlsberg with one more to come, a 84% free throw shooter. Sorry. Change for the Seawolves is coming to see his first action here today. DeAndre Osigwe. And here is an up and under by Colosimo. It's good, it'll count, and he got fouled. Boy, oh boy. That's the second time Gabe has taken that left side of the lane, been able to drive, been able to get a bucket, and he just turns the corner right there. Great
Concentration play to stick with it. Sees that he's drawing the foul, doesn't give up on the bucket, takes a hit off of his hip, goes up the left side and finishes.
I didn't see who the foul was on, but I think it was on
Carlsberg.
Yeah, okay. So I think he's got a couple in this contest now.
That'll be two on him.
Yeah.
He's got the only two fouls that Alaska Anchorage has had in the game.
Colosimo hits the free throw, and we've tied it once again. Here's Osigwe. Brings it down floor. He's given Hosley a bit of a break now. Brimhall, Bevins, and Osigwe. Crossover step, going to penetrate, take it baseline into the corner, and threw it out of bounds. He was looking for Brimhall in the deep corner, but threw it a little bit errantly, and the turnover goes back over to Seattle Pacific. And we mentioned that at the outset. Turnovers for Seattle Pacific important. Rebounding on the inside important for UAA. And the Falcons benefit from what they need right there. Moffitt turns the corner, goes inside. Another hard shot or tough shot, and put back up on the inside by Fullerton, who was able to grab the offensive rebound and put it back up and in.
Offensive board number 3 for Seattle Pacific so far, and that has turned into 4 second chance points. So they've been taking advantage of 3 of those offensive boards.
Who do you think that was?
Tied the record. Nico Bevins.
I told you.
Single season record now tied at 113 made three-pointers this year, joining Fossman. One more to set it on his own.
Moffitt around a high pick, guarded by Osigwe. That's a good matchup. Going inside, Osigwe whacked Moffitt across the arm. Are they going to call the shooting foul? Looked like he was in the act of shooting, Osigwe, and they're indeed going to do that. Now here is that last three-pointer by Bevins. And not bad defense there. I wouldn't take anything away from Kahn, who came out and challenged there. Free throw by Moffitt, good. Devontae Moffitt, 6'2" sophomore. And really, they've talked a lot about him at Seattle Pacific this year as he has taken over a huge leadership role. And only a sophomore. He gives the Falcons, or gets him into a tie, and he was going to be able to give him a lead, but he missed the second free throw, so we stay at 26 all. Mcdonald, Brimhall, and now Osigwe is the Seawolves work. And look at Osigwe pull up pop from three-point range. The University of Alaska Anchorage Day, as you mentioned, they are showing no inclination not to shoot threes. Here's Moffitt swoops in. There must be something on that left side. I don't think it's just the Seattle Pacific offense. They must have seen something in the Alaska Anchorage defense because they've been attacking that left side quite a bit today. And now we've got a foul called. This is going to be called against the Phillip Fullerton, going to be called for the foul. That's his first. Team fouls really with 8:15 left in this first half. Not really much of a concern at all. 3 each.
Well, back to your point on shot selection for Alaska Anchorage, looking at the difference right now, 12 of their 19 shots for the Seawolves have been threes. On the other side, Seattle Pacific, just 5 of their 20.
Well, you're going to get another one right there as Brimhall casts off and hits. I don't think there's ever been a game that has been shot all three-point shots, but boy, oh boy, we're getting a ton of them today. If you like long-range shooting, you're enjoying this one.
And I imagine Rusty Osborne is going to stick with this scheme until SPU finds an answer for it, because right now it's got his team in the lead by 1.
Moffitt penetrates, runner in the lane, good. First team, all league, why not? The way he's played this year, he's earned it. Brimhall, Hosley has come back in, and he'll shoot a 3 and hit it. Oh my, 32-30, Alaska Anchorage.
Well, the two teams on the floor right now
Wow.
is 2/3 of the GNAC's teams during the regular season that were able to shoot 40% or better from three-point range. UAA finishing the regular season tied for the best three-point mark with Western Oregon.
Colosimo missed the shot. Here's Hosley. He's going to take and circle into the corner, get it back out to Osigwe. Here's Bevins. Now to Hosley. Driving the baseline up and under with a left hand, Osigwe. That was an impressive move, especially going offhand.
He's been quiet so far. Hasn't got a ton of time. Just checked in 3 minutes ago. But remember, he had a big second half yesterday against Northwest Nazarene. He can be a contributor off the bench.
Moffitt missed, but followed his own to miss a shot. He gets it in the corner, going to penetrate inside. Nobody picks him up, and he gets fouled. Bevins was there. Brimhall was there. One of the two got the foul. And Tyler Brimhall going to be the man guilty of the foul. We'll have free throws coming here in just a moment. There's a Colosimo drive up and under a little bit earlier in this half as he got a Falcon bucket. But right now it's UAA on top of SPU by 4 here on GNAC.TV. Let's take a look at some of the first half here. There's Hosley with a 3 ball. Brimhall with another 3 for University of Alaska Anchorage. Bevins, one of his multiple 3s here today. Boy, I tell you, if it's working for you, you got to stick with it. And when you have 14 of your 22 shots from behind the arc, there's a good look at the Seattle Pacific University women's basketball team, or at least some of the team. Number 1 in our hearts. Okay. And the GNAC number 1 on that poster as well. Certainly, that's sentiments I think all of us can appreciate. Falcons going to come back on the floor as we get a good look there at Brougham Pavilion from the end line. Falcons and Seawolves. 6:28 left in this opening half. We've had some double-digit victories in this tournament this year, but Dustin, I will say this: none of them really were indicative of how close the games have been played. Here's Moffitt at the free throw line, hits one.
Yeah, we're yet to see a game where there's been a team blown out. There have been a couple games, we talked about double-digit victories, but those were late runs. First game today was a good example. Western Washington winning over Alaska Fairbanks. Very pesky Nanooks team that stuck around for a great majority of that game, held the lead just briefly in the second half, and then the Vikings were able to take off on them.
2-point game here. Bevins. Osigwe is he'll take a move inside, put it up, and just a little bit too strong. Panovich is back in, gets the rebound, pitches it out, but Bevins not able to knock down the three that time.
That was to set the new record. He's got it tied right now.
Well, he's still got 6 minutes here, so he's probably got 5 more threes in him before the first half comes to a conclusion.
He's already taken 7, accounting for nearly half of the UAA total.
Travel call against the Falcons there. Olson going to be guilty of the infraction. Let's set the lineups just to make sure for you. Pantovich, there's a good look at Augie right there as he's walking right into your living room. He's up front along with Bevins and Brimhall. The backcourt, Mcdonald and Hosley. So a little bigger team for UAA on the floor right now. As they're on the offensive end, here's Bevins to Hosley, looking down low. Instead, cross-courts it. Mcdonald going to swoop into the lane, get it under the baseline to Panovich. Lift fake, strong move, and scores it. Seattle Pacific, Devontae Moffitt, Shaw Anderson's come back on floor. Phillip Fullerton. Also out there, Brayden Olson and Harry Cavill. Here's Olson working the right side, now out top and goes to the left. Moffitt looking down low. Anderson trying to post up the smaller Hosley, and Hosley going to be whistled for the foul. Well, that's not a good matchup. Anderson at 6'6", going up against the 6'1" Hosley. Hosley trying to front him in the post, and you can see it right there. Anderson did a nice job to seal him right there, too, and he was going to get the entry pass. It could have been an easy bucket.
Interesting, given the offensive production of Anderson this season, that we haven't seen more out of him in the first half.
Bad miss there by Anderson, the guy we were just talking about. Took the long shot and was way off line to the right. Any chance that it's, well, last year he was in the postseason as well, so again, postseason competition should be no surprise to him. Here is Hosley down floor. Now goes out to Bevins. Brimhall, he's a three-point threat, but they get it down low to Pandovich. He's going to go to work inside, overpowers Fullerton on the inside, and is able to score the bucket. Actually, that was Jacob Medjo inside, and going down hard is Devontae Moffitt as he made a penetration to the hoop. Went down, landed on that right elbow. Boy, that hurts. He's going to rub it up a little bit, but he'll go to the free throw line, shaking out that right arm. Here's the penetration, goes inside, went up against Panovich. Panovich tried to block the shot, and Moffitt went down in a big heap. Look at Hosley doing a little bit of mop-up work down there.
Well, we haven't had workers on the baseline, so we've seen the officials do it. We've seen some players do it now.
What you do not want to have a slippery floor. You simply do not, especially the speed these young men are going today, or any game in this GNAC. And here is, once again, Devontae Moffitt to the free throw line, trying to cut into the 6-point lead by UAA. And Moffitt misses.
Second free throw he's missed today. 3 of 5 at the line for Devontae.
Sharif Khan going to come back in maybe for Moffitt here. Nope, actually it's going to be for Olson who'll check out. Moffitt, who went down hard on that right elbow, not showing any signs of it now. And Hosley going to come down floor. Inside the final 4.5 of this first half. Has a high screen, uses it left. Goes out to Pantovic, fake the three. Instead, they give it to Bevins. Hosley, get it inside to Pantovic, kick it in the corner. Brimhall lift fake, penetrates. Pantovic lay it up in, and it'll count it. He got fouled.
That is a great pass from Tyler Brimhall. He's cutting the baseline. He says, Panovich, take that step from the top of the paint inside. Watch this cut to the inside. Brimhall, no-look pass. Panovich with the right hand, able to finish and draw the foul.
And the foul on Moffitt is his first, and that is the 4th foul on the Falcons, 6 on the Seawolves at the present time. And Augie Pantovic at the free throw line, completing the three-point play.
Largest lead yet for the Seawolves at 8, 41-33.
Boy, I tell you, they have played well in this tournament. Beat Northwest Nazarene yesterday, and now trying to topple the top-seeded Falcons on their own home hardwood. Moffitt to Cavill, guarded by Brimhall. Double team comes, and Cavill calls. Did he get the timeout? Yes, he did. He got the timeout called right there, as he was in a world of difficulty there with the double team coming. Timeout on the floor. Let's go ahead and keep it right here. Ryan Swartwood from the University of Alaska Anchorage, Senior Associate Athletic Director for External Affairs, going to join us at halftime. Of course, Dustin Daniel will have first half numbers at the break, which is only, as you can see, 3 minutes and 50 seconds away. There's a look at the Seattle Pacific University bench. Somewhere in there is Grant Leap. Leap was a tremendous basketball player at the University of Washington, and he's turning out to be a tremendous coach as well, and a very personable young man. I had the opportunity to talk with him several times as his coaching career has begun to unfold here at Seattle Pacific, and he's following in a long line of tremendous coaches. Ryan Looney, he was an assistant to Ryan Looney, but Seattle Pacific has had coaches going all the way back of note, and probably beyond this, to Les Habeger when you go way back. And Habeger went from Seattle Pacific to assistant coach with the Seattle Sonics, if you remember those teams.
Not really. That does get back in a little bit before my time. But Ryan Looney, speaking of, has made quite the jump. A couple of schools in the last few years now at the Division I level with Idaho State up in Pocatello. And took his team to the national championship down at Point Loma last year, his final year there.
That was a tremendous game down there. Watched some of that action on the internet last year. That was a couple of shots there you saw of Augie Pantovic. And it looks like Alaska Anchorage started with the threes. Now they're trying to dump it down to Pantovic. And so trying to give Seattle Pacific a little different look. Here is Moffitt. Again, now UAA really extending the pressure. Kahn, Cavill, and now out to Moffitt. To the right, double teaming everything. The Seawolves are. They throw it out into the hands of Hosley. Turnover, Seattle Pacific. Here is Bevins, and he throws it away. Don't know who he was throwing it to there, but he threw it right to Seattle Pacific for the turnover. Cavill penetrates, lays it up. Air ball. Came up short. Hosley did a pretty nice job there to stand his ground. Then Tyrus gets knocked down, and the foul going to be called on Jacob Medjo. Medjo, 6'9", redshirt freshman, Bothell. This is such a young Falcons team, as we've mentioned, especially on the inside. Medjo, redshirt freshman. Fullerton, redshirt freshman. Shaw Anderson, freshman. Again, a lot of youth on the interior for Seattle Pacific.
Well, if they have this continuity now and this number of wins this year, come next season, we could be thinking about a West region right here in Seattle.
And here's another steal. Cavill comes away this time for Seattle Pacific. Moffitt working the right side, goes inside, put it up, misses it, and the rebound taken down by, well, almost a tie-up situation there, but Pantovic came up with the rebound and then the foul called. Here is the drive by Moffitt. A little bit of contact there. Pantovic with the rebound. Cavill reached in. I think he thought he got a tie-up with Pantovic, but the official right there had a great look at it, said, nope, got a part of the arm. So the foul called there. Each team with 16 fouls now. Final 2:45 of the half. Mcdonald coming around the outside, flip it off to Bevins. Now to Hosley. They haven't taken a three for a while. And here is Brimhall with a rolling left-hander high off the glass, and he gets it to drop through. And boy, look at this now. Double-digit lead for the University of Alaska Anchorage. Sharif Khan comes around the outside. Hook pass down low. Backing down, turning, shooting, and hitting the shot. That's a nice job there by the Beaverton, Oregon redshirt freshman, Phillip Fullerton. 6'9". Spells his name interestingly, F-I-L-I-P. I thought Brimhall was going to cast off. Gets it off to Bevins, to Hosley. Pantovic has to come out a little bit on the perimeter to get the basketball. Going to move down, going to drive to the baseline and get fouled. Cavill came down to double it up with Fullerton, but the foul going to be called on Fullerton. You might have heard the official on our mic there saying arm bar, and you can see it right there. Well, got a little bit of a push in on Pantovic, and he is a big, strong young man on the inside. Probably, as you mentioned yesterday, plays bigger than his 6'7" height.
Looking at the matchups that Seattle Pacific has to offer up against Pantovic, probably the one that physically matches up best with him is the man that just checked back in, Mehdi Almardi. Yet we haven't seen him go up against Pantovic too much in this game.
Almardi at 6'8" tall. And Shaw Anderson checks back out again as well. Falcons with Cavill up front with Almardi and the three guards of Moffitt, Kahn, and Colosimo. Free throws down, 10-point lead, and the Falcons facing 1-2-2 full court pressure, kind of a trapping defense. Kahn baseballs it cross court. Colosimo maybe thought three, but instead circles in, bounce to Cavill. He's going to try to back down on Mcdonald. He's got a big size advantage, turns, shoots, and back rims it. And the rebound, Pantovic secures a rebound. Less than 90 remaining, 90 seconds in the first half. And UAA on top by 10 as Jack Mcdonald has it head of the key. They work it to the left side to Hosley out high. You knew that was coming, and there's the record for the University. No, actually Tyler Brimhall. Was that Brimhall?
No, that was Bevins. That was the
record.
Was
Bevins. So Bevins with the record from straight on. I'll tell you, Bevins and Brimhall, they give you the same kind of look from their shots from the outside, no question. Moffitt around the outside, 13-point lead. He says, let me try a three, and he bounces it off the rim. Nice job by Almardi with the offensive rebound. Step through, a little hook inside, missed the shot. Cavill there for the offensive rebound to Moffitt. Penetrates, ball tipped away from behind. Nice job by Brimhall to come up defensively. And now the Seawolves are going to call a timeout. I saw Rusty Osborne jump quickly off the bench. He is going to set the offense here. Now 24 on the shot clock, 31.6 on the game clock, so a little more than a 6-second differential overall. I would be very surprised. I guess you could try to go 2 for 1 here if you wanted to, but especially with a lead of 13, I wouldn't expect that. You can see right there, there's the record setter. Boy, oh boy, he is hot today. Nico Bevins, 6'6", senior, out of Beaverton, Oregon, played at Montana. And I'll tell you, that kind of range, whew, impressive shooting here today for Bevins. Played well yesterday, but boy, today he's really got it zeroed in on the long-range shooting.
Well, Alaska Anchorage knows they're playing for their season. If they do not win, they do not have a shot at an at-large berth in the West region right now. Seattle Pacific can lose this game, and they know they still have another game. So a little bit different sense of urgency right now for Alaska Anchorage, and that's showing with their lead.
And Anchorage, as I anticipated, is going to play for one shot here. Going to use some shot clock. Moffitt on Hosley. Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe another 3, 4 on the shot clock. Here is Pantovic, and he's fouled. And he's fouled on a three-point shot by Colosimo. And I don't think anybody thought that Pantovic was going to shoot a 3, but on the year, he has taken 37 of them. He's only hit 9. But you can see there's the pass to him in the left corner, and he just kind of gave the up fake, and Colosimo fouled him. And now Pantovic has the opportunity to shoot 3 from the free throw line. If you'd have told me that the University of Alaska Anchorage would have maybe 50 in the first half, I don't think I would have believed you, but they do.
Of the 4 previous halves on the season they played against Seattle Pacific, only outscoring them on one occasion. It was just by a couple of points at that. So to put up numbers like this in the first half, this is going to be a big wake-up call for the Falcons, and there are going to be a lot of adjustments that need to be made, specifically trying to figure out how to limit a 62% field goal shooting percentage of the Seawolves.
6.5 seconds left. Cavill going to penetrate all the way down floor and put it down with a 2-hand slam. And the Seawolves get the ball inbounds, but boy, that was a big bucket by Harry Cavill to end the first half. Still, the University of Alaska Anchorage has to be pretty happy. And look at Cavill. He just drives, and he has got some tremendous athletic ability, pretty well above the rim as he puts it down there to end the first half. And the first half comes to a conclusion, but it is the Seawolves of the University of Alaska Anchorage, seed number 5, on top of the top-seeded Falcons of Seattle Pacific University by 13 at the break, 50-37. Our halftime report going to come your way right after this break here on GNAC.TV. High above Royal Brougham Pavilion at Seattle Pacific University, it's the 2020 Great Northwest Athletic Conference Men's and Women's Basketball Championships. I'm Robert Lowry, pleased to be joined by Dustin Daniel. He has first half numbers from this second men's semifinal game that right now is in the favor of the University of Alaska Anchorage over the top-seeded Seattle Pacific Falcons, 50-37.
Those 50 points in the first half for Alaska Anchorage, most given up by Seattle Pacific in a first half of play this season. Previously, they'd given up 46 as their first half high to an opponent. They gave that up when they visited Point Loma down in San Diego in non-conference play early on in the season. Now, they would go on to win that game 96-89 over Point Loma. That was back on November 30th, so it has been more than 2 months, actually making more than 3 months since Seattle Pacific has given up this kind of defensive, or I should say offensive production to an opposing team. And it's been on 62% shooting.
Interestingly, when you look at their first 2 games, they only gave up an average of 38 points to the University of Alaska Anchorage in the first 2 meetings, the regular season meetings, that were both won by the Falcons.
Yeah, the Seawolves did not shoot particularly well in either of those games. They were shooting in the high 30s in one of them. And you look at the numbers from the first half, this has just been a different Seawolves team. 62% from the field, 50% from three-point range. That's the big one. 8 of 16, as we talked about, their first 7 shots from the field in this game were 3-pointers. Nico Bevins leads UAA in scoring. He's got 15 points. Actually leads all scorers in this game. 5 of 8 from the field. All of those have been 3-point shots. On the other side, SPU, 45% from the field. Not a bad number by any means. 37.5% on their 3-point shooting. The one that really sticks out, first half bench scoring for Seattle Pacific, 3 points. They got 1 bucket out of Brayden Olson. That was it from their bench.
Well, Grant Leap is certainly going to want to see a little more production out of his reserves here in the second half, and he may need them as we look at the litany of highlights from the first half, and a lot of those came from long range. Seattle Pacific still huddled up around their head coach and the GNAC Coach of the Year, Grant Leap. And you can see there Alaska Anchorage already on the floor with Augie Pantovic, Nico Bevins, Tyrus Hosley, Jack Mcdonald. It looks like the starting 5 back on floor as, Tobin Carlberg out there too. But it's the Falcons with the basketball. They begin the second half, and Devontae Moffitt has it. Cavill, Fullerton, Colosimo, and Anderson. So their starters also back on floor. Moffitt, Cavill, lift fake. Nice pass inside, but it went off Fullerton, knocked away from him. I think McDonald is the man who quick-handed it away. Ball out of bounds, 11 on the shot clock, though, as you can see right there. Great work by our Alto Vision crew here on the cameras today. Again. Here is Moffitt. Takes it left, spins, shoots, and a little kind of a baby hook, came up a little bit short. Carlberg, who does a great job on the glass for a little guy, gets the ball back from Hosley. Bevins and Hosley now top of the key. They work it to the near side to Mcdonald from Carlberg. Down low. Panovich may be a little bit farther out than he wants, so he gives it to Bevins. He says, let me cast off for three. He's already got the school record, single season. Tried to add to it right there, didn't. Down floor, Cavill says, let me show you how you shoot a three. He misses it, got knocked down, or fell down. Mcdonald back down floor, pass out, and Cavill, nearly came up with a steal there. Hosley, now the ball is knocked away from him and taken away by the Falcons. Moffitt swoops down the end line, kicks it in the corner. Colosimo casts and hits from three.
Alaska Anchorage cannot come out of the locker room trying to play defense and hold on to this 13-point lead. They need to continue to attack, try and stretch out this advantage, because if they're just playing to hold, Seattle Pacific's going to make a run at them.
Well, it looks like the defense by Seattle Pacific a little more aggressive here as the second turnover in a row forced by the Falcons. And here is the pass to Fullerton from Cavill. Not Fullerton by surprise. The ball glanced off his hands and went out of bounds. You can see it right there. Here's Moffitt with the baseball pass into the corner for the last Falcons basket with Colosimo in the corner, knocking it down. This is Mcdonald. Cosaida, all academic district team for Jack McDonald. Down low, Panovich with the basketball to a cutting Carlberg, lays it in. Somebody better tell Carlberg he's only 6 feet tall. He likes to do a lot of work on the inside, on the glass, and scoring right there.
And he's one of those scrappy point guards.
He's
likes
scrappy.
to get inside.
Here's Moffitt, long ranger, and he hits it from the angle. That's a three-pointer for Devontae Moffitt as the Falcons begin to heat up. They were only, 2 of their last 10 in the first half, but boy, they've started out hot here in the second half, and they've cut the lead to single digits at 9.
Yeah, Alaska Anchorage finished 8 of 10 in the first half. Seattle Pacific 2 of 10 to close the first half and grow that lead out to as many as 15 for UAA.
Near side, Hosley. Alaska Anchorage offense, a lot of standing around right now. They give it to Pantovic. Going to spin inside, spin, kick it to Hosley. 3 in the right corner, good.
That's
that was
a big one.
Shot, yeah, exactly.
Stems the tide a little bit, gets Alaska Anchorage back on the right track.
Moffitt leans into a 3, misses it, but draws the foul. Moffitt gave the lift fake, got the defender in the air, and went into him and got the foul. Now here is Pantovic with a kick out, and you can see Hosley there with at least a foot behind the three-point arc, and he gives the point over in acknowledgement of the assist by Pantovic. Timeout on the floor, 16:51 to go. It is Falcons, the number 1 seed, trailing the number 5 seed by 12 here on GNAC.TV. Devontae Moffitt going to the free throw line. The officials came over and they were taking a check on that last foul. I think they were wondering if it was a 3 or 2 at which he was fouled on. And apparently it's going to be a 2-shot opportunity right here as he knocks in the first. Moffitt was on the far side of the floor and the right side of the floor. They are going to give him 3. So that's what they were checking. Was it a 2 or was it a 3? And he was on the right side. He was right around that arc, and the officials came over and they decided to give it a good look during that last timeout. And Carlberg going to check out, and in for the University of Alaska Anchorage, Amari Hale, junior out of Portland. I don't think we saw Amari yesterday. I know we didn't, as a matter of fact, as Moffitt hits all 3.
Yeah, we didn't, and this is the first time we've seen him in this game.
Yeah.
So a little bit different look here for Rusty Osborne. Interested to see exactly why he would bring him in this spot.
Eastern Arizona transfer. And here's a cross-court pass. McDonald. Hale, Bevins, left corner, Hosley. Tyrus going to back it back out. Shot clock down at 7 as they work it into Pantovic. With 5, he spins and lays it up, missed it, goes after his own rebound. Rebound tipped around, but Moffitt comes away with it. Devontae down floor, penetrates on McDonald's defense and draws Jack into the foul. So Devontae Moffitt, there he is, coming right your way. Drives on McDonald, and Jack fouled him. There's no question about that. McDonald picks up the foul, which is the second of the Seawolves this half. Falcons have yet to commit a foul, and we're 3 minutes and 45 seconds, as you can see, into the second half. And Moffitt has been up the free throw line a lot. Well, he's the guy you want up there, 82% on the regular season. He's perfect there today. All right, check me on that. He's missed a couple today, surprisingly.
He's 7 for 9 at the free throw line. He gets both of these, and then he will have more than half of his points in this game at the free throw line. Right now he's got 16 points. Now make it 17 and 8 at the line. He hits this, it'll be 9 and 18.
Well, he's an impressive player without question. And again, just a sophomore. We're going to see more of him. He was the leading scorer this year, just under 17 a game. And, well, you can see it right there. He knocks them both down. It is the Seawolves with the basketball. McDonald, Hosley down low, Pantovic doubled up on the baseline. What's he going to do? Kick it back out. Now they work it to McDonald, moves in for the free throw pop and has it rim in and out. Man, oh man. Heartbreaking shot for Jack McDonald as Moffitt down floor. Cabell penetrates. Pass to the right side for Fullerton's three. His rim's in and out as well. Tipped out of bounds by Shaw Anderson. And we're at a timeout once again. Well, 55-48 the count. Seattle Pacific trailing the top-seeded Falcons. You can see there's Moffitt shooting the long one from the perimeter. Gets it to drop. We'll be back with more of our semifinals of the men's GNAC 2020 championships here on GNAC.tv. Brougham Pavilion, Seattle Pacific University, the host site for this year's Great Northwest Athletic Conference men's and women's basketball championships. My name, Robert Lowry. His name, Dustin Daniel. And the names of these two teams, the Seattle Pacific Falcons, the left side of your screen, and breaking the huddle to the right, it is the Seawolves of the University of Alaska, Anchorage. Anchorage staying on floor. Hale and Hosley, the back court. Up front, Bevins. Also up front, the big fella. They're looking down low to Panovich. And McDonald up there as well. Here's Hale to Bevins. Thought three. Step back on the angle. Gets it to the high post man. Panovich hands off. Once again, they go to Pantovic. Going to go to work on Mehdi Elmardi. He throws it on the end line, does Pantovic, and threw it right into the hands of the Falcons. Turnover Seattle Pacific. Cabell, far side spin dribble, and comes around a high pick. Off right. As once again, Brayden Olson is in. Down low to Shaw Anderson. He's been kind of quiet today, but he's going to turn and shoot there and hit it.
Well, we saw Alaska Anchorage take pretty good care of the basketball in the first half. Only committed 5 turnovers before the break, but now they've committed 3 just here in the first 5 minutes of the second half, and that's going to turn into points off of turnovers for the Falcons. And they've drawn within 2 possessions now. Well,
we talked a lot about the fact that Falcons going to need to cause some havoc defensively. And here is Pantovic and Elmardi going to come up with the foul there. So Mehdi Elmardi comes up with the foul, and that will send, I believe, well, I guess it's going to be a non-shooting foul. You can see Pantovic, apparently the foul call before he got the shot up. Sharif Khan going to return for Seattle Pacific now, as Elmardi is going to check back out once again, as Pantovic goes to the bench as well. So each team with changes. More of a perimeter look for both teams at the present time. And here's an offensive foul. Carlberg setting the screen a little bit too aggressive, and Carlberg picks up the 4th. That's his 4th and the 3rd team in the second half, and you can see it right there. Carlberg set the screen to try to get Bevins loose. He set the screen all right, but a little bit too strong. Once again, a 1-2-2 half-court trapping defense by the Seawolves being applied. Not full out. Just putting up a little token pressure there. Moffitt, Cabell, down low. Anderson strong on the inside, and he just kind of overpowered Brimhall on the inside.
Shaw Anderson with the size advantage over Brimhall has a little bit of more muscle mass on him as well, so he's able to take him down into the paint. Brimhall, nothing he could do there.
Brimhall picks up the 4th personal foul. change as Mcdonald comes back in for Carlberg, who has to go to the bench and more than 14 minutes left. Anderson down floor, turns, shoots, hits. Well, Shaw Anderson showing why he was the GNAC Freshman of the Year. Last couple of possessions down floor. And he's cut this lead to just 3. Remember, it was double digits at halftime. 13, as a matter of fact, so the Falcons have cut 10 off that lead. Falcons playing tough defense against Mcdonald, and Mcdonald fouled by Moffitt there. A lot of motion on the Alaska Anchorage offense right now, and that got Mcdonald for a move into the lane, and he'll go to the free throw line to shoot 2 times at the 13:40 mark, and the Falcons edging back in this. The top-seeded Falcons 22-2 after an 0-4 start this year. University of Alaska Anchorage with a very solid record as well at 19-13 overall. Next one by the Australian. He knocks it in. Again, pressure defense. Cavill breaks the 10-second mark, or the half-court stripe, as he comes into the forecourt. Ball knocked away, so the Falcons going to throw it in. There's a good look at Cavill with Grant Leap to his side. Cavill on the right angle, goes inside, hook pass in low. Colosimo puts it up, gets it to drop, and he'll go to the free throw line. I believe this is his 3rd three-point opportunity of the day, all from the inside.
Gabe Colosimo been very adept in this game at finishing after the foul. Gets bumped up from behind there by Mcdonald, goes falling to the ground, but has the concentration and the maturity on the floor to make sure that he gets a try up at the bucket, and he's been very good at finishing. Again,
the only senior on this Falcons team, but he knocks down the three-point shot, and boy, we're back to a 2-point game, which should be a surprise to absolutely nobody.
This was a 15-point UAA lead with 9 seconds left in the first half. Then Harry Cavill runs the length of the floor and dunks it just before time expires.
Foul called. I think Kahn is going to be guilty of the foul. He will, as he bumped and fouled Nico Bevins. Bevins really has been held in check for this half to this point. Hosley, Bevins, and once again Hale handles for just a moment. Hosley, here's Bevins, guarded by, well, not surprisingly, Cavill. Now Cavill switches off on Mcdonald, and they work it to Brimhall. Pull up, pop, good.
Tyler Brimhall's had a quiet game. He's 3 for 3, so he's been efficient from the field, but it's just 7 points now. Yesterday, much more high energy it seemed from Brimhall. Maybe he used it all up then, and he's just a little bit gassed here today, but just haven't seen him make the same kind of impact that he did. And as soon as I say that, he makes a diving play on the sideline.
Boy, he heard you. He overheard you as he came down floor. He played at that great junior college, North Idaho. They have put out so many great four-year collegiate players over the year, and he certainly is playing a big role here. Inbounds, and, well, boy, nice job by Mcdonald. He was able to screen Shaw Anderson away as the ball was lobbed in and was over the head of Anderson. So with a 4-point cushion and 12.5 on the clock, it is once again Hale going to bring it into the forecourt for the Seawolves. He's guarded by Kahn, mid-floor to Hosley. Will he? Yep, 3 on the way. Back rim, no good. And Kahn swoops in to come down with a rebound to Olson up the near side. Takes it in the lane, jump pass into the corner. Colosimo inside, left-hander up, no good. Offensive rebound, Colosimo got his own. Kick at corner, Kahn, 3, good.
Well, that second chance coming back to bite UAA should not, especially with how much momentum Colosimo is carrying to the other side. There's no instance where he should be able to get his own offensive rebound in that spot if you're the Seawolves.
Basketball. Jack going to move it back out. Bevins, guarded by Cavill, off right. Hosley switching on the perimeter. Brimhall, quick three. Boy, what a quick one. Missed it. And look at Colosimo go in and come down with a rebound for the Falcons, looking for their first second half lead here.
12 points, 3 dimes, 2 boards so far in this game for Colosimo.
Kahn says, here's the three for the lead. It's going to be off the rim. Shaw Anderson with a putback. He misses it. Rebound tipped around. Falcons, another missed shot. And now they're going to have a fourth opportunity on a penetration by Olson. Puts it up, misses it, but he'll go to the free throw line. Well, that is something that you certainly, actually an offensive foul. No. Check me on that. Here is Anderson with the miss. There's the tipped rebound. Anderson got it again, missed it, tipped it back out. And the penetration by Olson, well, nice job there by Tyrus Hosley. He did set up shop, drew the offensive foul. It'll be Seawolves basketball when we return. 11:02 left to go in this men's semi of the 2020 Great Northwest Athletic Conference Championships on GNAC.TV. Here's a sequence of events from earlier in this half. Sharif Khan, long range three from the left corner. He has a very pretty stroke when you watch him. Very sound fundamentally. Uses the legs, nice high release. Knocked down that three to help the Falcons get back to within a single point here. Inbound, well, that was a bad pass from the perimeter. Brimhall looking for Mcdonald, threw it over his head. Turnover, UAA. Down floor, Olson. Stutter step, taken inside. Get it down low to Fullerton, who's come back in, and the Falcons have regained the lead.
15-point lead gone for Alaska Anchorage. That is Seattle Pacific's first lead in the second half.
Nico Bevins, cross court. Hosley. Down low left. Here is Brimhall in the lane. Turn jumper good. Kind of a floating jumper as he went from left to right across the key. Olson, handoff. Colosimo, he's really been a spark in this second half. Cavill looking to post Hosley down low. Kahn in the lane, jump pass near side. Cavill shoots, misses. Rebound taken down by Brimhall. Cavill had a good look right there, wasn't able to get it to drop. And now here's a three the other way. Bevins knocks down a long-range three. I believe that's one of his first shots in the second half.
That is the first points he's had here in the second half. He had 15 in the first half. That's just 3 now for him after the break. 18 total, 6 of 10 from the field, all from three-point range.
Olson behind the arc. Willie, step back, decides not to, goes inside, puts it up, misses, gets his own rebound, kick it out. Colosimo, lift fake, sets up, 3 on the way, good.
Really nice step back shot by Colosimo. Takes a step in to keep the defense off of him, pushes back beyond the arc, and is wide open.
And with that, the Falcons back to within 1. They're down 64-63, as you can see there. Down low, Pantovic hasn't touched him much. Bevins gets it back to Pantovic. Triple team, kick it out, no look pass, and boy, good defensive play by Colosimo there as he jumped in the passing lanes. It was looking like they're going to try to get it to Mcdonald in the corner, but the ball tipped away out of bounds. It'll stay. And here's the last three-point shot. Boy, Colosimo just let Brimhall fly by, reset, and knocked it down. He has been a big part of this comeback.
Colosimo's second leading scorer behind Devontae Moffitt for SPU in this game, 15 points.
Pantovic down the lane, lays it up and in. He got switched up, and Moffitt had him in a switch, and that is certainly not the matchup that Seattle Pacific wants there. So the lead back to 3 for the University of Alaska Anchorage Seawolves. The official is going to come over and take a look at something right here. We'll go ahead and step aside for just a minute as well here on GNAC.TV. Apparently the officials were looking to see if the shot clock was actually functioning during that last possession. Here's the Pantovic move down the lane. Boy, he went strong on the inside. He's having a good game. He's certainly much more aggressive offensively today than we saw yesterday in the victory over Northwest Nazarene.
Panovich got off to a tough start in yesterday's game. Fortunately for Alaska Anchorage, they didn't need him to be a huge offensive help as they're still able to get the win by 9 over Northwest Nazarene. But today, they really have leaned on him for some big minutes underneath.
Shaw Anderson posting up the lighter Brimhall on the inside. Anderson, for a freshman, shows some tremendous moves on the inside and the ability to get a guy on his hip, get some good positioning on the inside, and use that to his advantage. That is the 6th team foul now on University of Alaska Anchorage. Inbounds, spin, Anderson puts it up, missed it, and Brimhall with the foul. So Shaw Anderson to the free throw, and you can see it right there. Brimhall, well, he got him on the arm. I don't think there's much question about that. And that's going to send the freshman Shaw Anderson to the free throw line. 80% free throw shooter on the season. And to the free throw line now on the day. Anderson, first trip to the stripe. And he knocks it down.
That's 4 on Brimhall now, so Alaska Anchorage dealing with both Brimhall and Carlberg at 4 fouls.
Well, that's a bit of a problem. I don't think there's much question about that. There's a look at Shaw, knocks it down. Had a chance to talk to him on Wednesday, pre-tournament. Very likable young man, very soft-spoken young man from Kelso. Back in, DeAndre Osigwe. I don't think we've seen him in the second half until now. Down low, here's Panovich with the basketball. Looks for cutters. Instead, now he'll back down, and boy, that's an offensive foul, no question. You got to give a lot of credit to Phillip Fullerton right there for setting up well. Watch Fullerton moving the feet, and Pantovich just led with that left arm for the offensive foul.
As soon as Fullerton sees that arm come up, regardless of how much force Panovich puts into him, he can sell that to the official. You just go down with any arm into you. That's easy.
66-65. Falcons looking to regain the second half lead. Colosimo into the corner, gets it back from Anderson. Shaw pops out, or make that Fullerton pops out, gives it to Olson down low. The Fullerton and the Falcons have regained the lead just inside 8 minutes left. 67-66 for the top-ranked Falcons.
Panovich got tripped up in the paint, so him going down opened up Fullerton with no defender on him on the right block for that easy layup.
Well, here's Panovich, kick it out. Bevins, left fake, resets, 3 on the way. Back rims it off the line right, and the rebound taken down by the Falcons. Going to push it up floor just a bit. Olson, who's done a nice job, the sophomore, running the point, but this time he loses it. Mcdonald spins away with the basketball. Very nearly traveled there as he almost had the feet come out from underneath him. Gets the return pass from Hosley. Up ahead to Osigwe across the top to Bevins. Into the corner. Hosley dish down low to a cutting. Osigwe laying good.
That's a good find on the baseline. Osigwe coming from the weak side. He just got lost in the defensive shuffle and was able to lay it in.
That was tremendous ball movement by Alaska Anchorage there. Both teams have moved the ball very, very crisply here today. Colosimo, Moffitt goes inside, step through, put it up over Pantovich and scores it.
That gets Moffitt to 20. He leads all scorers in this game.
Well, seesaw affair. 1 point lead for the Falcons again. Mcdonald behind the arc, lob down low. Pantovich gets open, kicks it back out. Can Osigwe save it? He's not gonna be. Did he call the timeout or did it go out of bounds? The officials. They're going to say that Osigwe was able to call the timeout before he went out of bounds with the basketball. The officials now going to talk to the coaches and let them know that that's exactly what happened. So there's a timeout on the floor. Let's keep it right here. Harry Cavill going to come back in here in just a moment for Seattle Pacific University. 69-68 the count. Bevins only one three-pointer in the second half. Does he have to get going offensively from the outside?
Well, now that you get foul trouble going from a couple other key contributors, that does narrow down your options because Carlberg and Brimhall are going to have to take a seat. Between those two, that's combined 17 points that's in foul trouble right now. So, long answer for that is yes, Bevins does need to step up right now. Because you look at what's happened so far in the correlation, Nico Bevins, 15 points in the first half, 15-point lead for Alaska Anchorage. Only been able to score 3 points here in the second half. That margin has narrowed, and then they've gone back and forth with Seattle Pacific as that advantage has gone away.
There was a real good look at that play we talked about just a moment ago where Panovich just fell down, and Fullerton said, well, thank you very, very much. Okay. Okay. Well, official Mark Cook came over to us and was explaining about the timeout right there and said what it was. Osigwe was not going out of bounds, at which point you can't call a timeout. He was still in, I guess, within the boundaries of the court when he went into the air and got the timeout called, and that's the reason that the timeout was granted. So, again, 69-68. Anchors with the basketball. Hosley penetrates inside on Moffitt, spins, gets it down low to Panovich, left fake lay-in and out, gets his own rebound, puts it back up and is fouled.
That's a tough call on the putback.
Yeah.
If anything, it looked like there was a foul on the first try up on that second one. Looked like a clean block, but either way, Panovich going to be heading to the line. It looks like we got media coming up.
And Panovich going to the free throw line, believe it or not. He's 5 of 6 there tonight. We'll see how he can do when we return to action. There is the foul there. You're listening and watching the 2020 Great Northwest Athletic Conference Men's and Women's Basketball Championship exclusively on GNAC.TV. Royal Brougham Pavilion, Seattle Pacific University on a rainy Friday here in Seattle, or at least it was when we got to the Pavilion earlier today, which is not much of a surprise for this part of the country. But that said, it's warm and cozy inside for the 2020 GNAC Men's and Women's Basketball Tournament, and we've got a hot one going on the floor now. 69-68, top-seeded Falcons over the number 5 University of Alaska Anchorage Seawolves. Augie Panovich was fouled before that timeout. He goes to the free throw line to try to tie and potentially give the Seawolves a lead once again.
Well, Panovich so far in this game, 5 of 6 at the free throw line.
Now 6 of 7.
Gotten there more than any other UAA player. Only trails Devontae Moffitt in free throw attempts in this game. Moffitt has put up 11 at the line at this point.
Well, I guess this is no surprise. 2 big offensive players, 1 for each team. They're going to score a lot of points and get their share from the free throw line. And Panovich gives the Seawolves the lead back, 70-69. In the earlier 2 contests, 70 points would have darn near got you a victory.
Alaska Anchorage has led for 70% of this game for 23 minutes, 39 seconds.
Baseline, Anderson, they work at the perimeter. 3-pointer in the corner, no good. Panovich pulls the rebound off the Olson miss. Those earlier contests, 83-76 Seattle Pacific. Here is a 3 by Mcdonald, going to skim over the rim, no good. And 79-73, and we got 5:42 left. We're going to easily eclipse the 70-point mark here, and maybe the 80. Here's a drive by Moffitt, lays it in, and again, seesaw affair goes back to Seattle Pacific. Osigwe into the forecourt for the Seawolves. Bevins, guarded by Anderson. The perimeter, left to right, worked the Seawolves. Hosley around the screen, down low right. Panovich with the basketball, kick it back to him. Mcdonald behind the arc, thought about 3, instead goes to Bevins. He won't think, he'll shoot and have it off line right, no good. Final 5 minutes as Moffitt shoots back, rims it, and Panovich comes down. Another rebound for the big fella. Augie doing a nice job on the glass today. as that is his 7th board. Osigwe down to Panovich. Going to move inside, jump hook, rolls it through. That's a good matchup between him and Shaw Anderson. The fact Anderson just a freshman, Panovich though and Anderson both big, strong, physical young men.
Yeah, Panovich the advantage in sheer muscle size. Shaw the advantage in height.
Oh. I tell you, Devontae Moffitt with a circus shot, double clutched off the window, and again, Seattle Pacific with the lead. Back and forth we go. Bevins off right Osigwe, and he is fouled. Cavill that time bumped Osigwe, and substitutions each way. That's only the 2nd foul on Cavill. In terms of team fouls going down the stretch, Falcons was 6, so they are on the verge of allowing the Seawolves to get into the bonus. The Seawolves already committed 8, so Seattle Pacific already in the bonus. Inbounds McDonald, turn jumper baseline, bounces too long, rebound scramble, bodies on the floor, foul called on somebody, and I think it's going to go against the Seawolves, Tyrus Hosley, I believe, yeah. So Hosley with the foul, so on the 19th foul, we'll walk down floor and free throws to come. There's a McDonald shot right there, bounce over the rim. Cavill tips the rebound, scramble for it. Anderson got it, but Cavill and Hosley went down in a heap, and the foul on Tyrus, his 2nd. And Harry Cavill to the free throw line. Cavill, first trip to the stripe today, and he earns the bonus.
He gets this one, and it'll match the largest lead that Seattle Pacific has had. They haven't been up by more than 3 in this game, and the last time they were up by that much, score is 9-6.
Cavill, an 84% free throw shooter during the season, shoots, and, well, there's your lead. So we're just more than 4 minutes left in this one. The Falcons lead it by 3. Remember, they were down by 15 in the final seconds of the first half. Carlberg back in, playing with those 4 fouls. Hosley around a screen, penetrates inside, up and under, and gets it to drop.
That is a great finish by Tyrus Hosley. Moving off to the right side, has 2 defenders chasing him as well. Somehow is able to finger roll it up and in underneath the arm of one of the Seattle Pacific defenders.
Very impressive. Colosimo to Cavill. That's an interesting matchup, but he goes and hands it off to Shaw Anderson, cutting on the baseline for the dunk. Anderson lost his defender and got the bucket to drop, and again it's a 3-point lead.
A really nice find from Cavill. Gets stuck on the baseline, was looking to get it done himself, but then sees Anderson as the runner.
Oh, look at that. Pantovich steps out from behind the top of the circle for the 3-pointer and knots the game at 77.
That's the first and only 3-pointer that Panovich has taken in this contest, and that is a big one as we get under the 3-minute mark.
That's the only way he's taken in the tournament. Here is Moffitt back the other way off the window. Now both teams heating up here as we get down to the closing minutes of the contest. McDonald, mid-floor Hosley, long 3, good! Oh, baby!
Well, we knew Tyrus Hosley had the range the entire time. He hadn't stepped back for that deep of a 3 yet in this game. Did it yesterday. And that is a huge shot, if not the biggest one of the game.
Now here is the pass, and you can see right there that Anderson got loose on the baseline, and Cavill made a brilliant feed there for the dunk. Quick timeout on the floor, so I guess we'll go ahead and step aside as well. 2:36 left to go in the contest. It's the visitors, UAA, on top by a single point here on GNAC.TV. Devontae Moffitt with a penetration bucket there for Seattle Pacific. Just looking at some of the statistics, you know what? We've had 21 lead changes in this game. You know what? We could have 21 more in the final 2:36.
It has been an exciting second half. Seattle Pacific fighting their way back in. No surprise there. They're a team that's been down by double digits on a couple of occasions, including to Alaska Anchorage in one of the regular season matchups. They trailed by 10, came back and won. So they're used to getting into a bit of a spot and being able to come back.
Cavill to Moffitt, circles inside. Panovich picks him up. Out to Cavill. Bounce left corner. 3 on the way. skimming over the rim is missing it. Anderson from the corner. So UAA with a single-point lead and 2 minutes left in the contest has the basketball. And Hosley, who hit that big three a moment ago to give the Seawolves the lead, has the basketball again.
After that deep three, Moffitt meets him at half court for defense. Not going to give him anything.
Here's Hosley. Step back. Another long three. Good.
Tyrus Hosley, 16 points, 4 made three-pointers in this game.
And 2 big ones back-to-back, and the Falcons going to call a timeout here as they're down by 4 with 1:33 left. 30-second timeout. Now, certainly a 4-point lead is very doable for the Falcons, but boy, when you got Hosley stepping back and knocking down the threes like he has in the past couple of possessions, that's got to give the Seawolves a lot of confidence. When you look at him on the season from three-point range, Hosley, very solid, a 41% three-pointer, but he had a couple of daggers in the last couple of trips down floor to erase a Falcon lead and give now the Seawolves a 4-point cushion.
Tyrus Hosley has been a game changer. Doesn't always have to be the leading scorer, but he steps up in big spots. Second half play for him, he really enjoys being able to get the big shots in the pressure situations, as he's shown that with 2 big threes in these last 2 possessions for Alaska Anchorage. If you're SPU on the other side, no need to panic yet. Still over 90 seconds left to play. You still have 2 timeouts in the back pocket, and you know you have the ability to get quick stops and quick buckets.
Moffitt gets the inbounds, guarded by Carlberg with those 4 fouls. Now a switch out top as Brimhall takes Moffitt, and he's fouled as he drove inside. Now, as you talked about yesterday, this is good for the Falcons as they can score here. As you see Moffitt making the seesaw dribble and then gets fouled by Brimhall, who fouls out. That was also the 10th team foul on the Seawolves. Rusty Osborne going to bring in who? Nico Bevins going to return. So Bevins back in, and Carlberg also on floor with 4 fouls. Moffitt free throw, good. And 1:25 left, but again, an opportunity to score some points here without any time coming off the clock.
Moffitt's really gotten it done at the free throw line in this game as well. That was his 10th made free throw.
How about the 11th right there? Wow. 2-point game. Does Hosley have another 3 in him? We'll see. Carlberg going to bring it down floor. He's been a little quiet offensively in the second half because he's been out with that foul difficulty. But he can cast from 3 as well. Gets the basketball. Little weave action out top. Hosley gets it back. Moffitt on him. He's thinking 3. I can tell you that right now. Step back. There it is on the way. It's going to be off the rim. Offensive rebound. No, that's going to be a push-off on the offensive rebound on Jack Mcdonald.
It's going to go on Carlberg, and that's going to be his game.
Or Carlberg, I should say. Yeah, no question. Yeah, well, you saw it right there. He gave Colosimo a little bit of a bump. Gabe went across the floor, and with that, Carlberg goes across the floor onto the bench.
Well, that's how quickly things can change. This was a 4-point game just a moment ago coming out of that timeout. Brimhall and Carlberg were still in it. And just 30 basketball seconds later, Brimhall, Carlberg both fouled out, and Colosimo's going to the line with a chance to tie it.
3 of 3 from the free throw line today as Gabe has 2 here. First one good. Not clean, but good. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how it goes down as long as it drops through the webbing. That's all you need. And the next one by Colosimo, also good, and we're tied. 1 minute and 2 seconds left. We're at 83. And off the bench once again, Amari Hale for UAA. Here's Hosley down floor. Moffitt on him defensively, tightly. Not allowing Hosley to get a look here. So they go to Pantovic, left side. Backs down on Fullerton, backs down, step through, fake, lays it up and in, it'll count, and he got fouled. Cavill came over to help out. Fullerton went down. The Seattle Pacific bench looking for an offensive foul on Pantovic. Instead, Augie goes to the free throw line with a and one opportunity. You can see it here. Pantovic backs down, steps up, gives that little lift fake. He gives that on almost every shot we have seen him take today, other than the three, quite frankly.
Well, looking back to that play, that's the same kind of thing that Fullerton was rewarded for earlier, where Panovich does drop that arm. Fullerton went with it again, thinking he'd draw the charge, but this time it'd be the Seawolves that got away with it.
And the Seawolves called the timeout after Panovich knocks down the free throw, as the Seawolves have a 3-point lead. 42.6 seconds left in the game. Well, no, let me put it to you this way. 42.6 seconds left in regulation. We haven't seen an overtime game yet.
Not yet. They've
Now,
had a couple of opportunities.
Yeah.
First one of the championships, even. Western Oregon missing what would have been a game-time 3 to send that one to OT against Alaska Fairbanks.
If you want to talk about overtime games, University of Alaska Anchorage has had their share. Matter of fact, and I don't know if I have ever seen this before in college basketball, they had 3 straight overtime games, 3 straight and 4 this year. And the 3 they had Western Washington, they lost. At Northwest Nazarene, they won. And at Central Washington, they won on 3 consecutive games in overtime.
That's an exhausting week and a half.
No question about it. On the year, in terms of overtime games, they have won 3 of 4. Seattle Pacific had just 1 overtime game against Western Oregon, and they won that one. Little half-court trapping defense. Cavill gets open, looks to penetrate, takes it inside, steps through, looking for Anderson, gets it to him, lay it in, good. 27 seconds left.
Shot clock turned off now, so Anchorage is going to have to hold and see who they foul.
Well, they're going to foul Panovich with 19.7 seconds left. Panovich, free throw line, 8 of 9 today. Season, just under 80%. Here is Cavill. Last time he did that to Anderson and gave it to Shaw again. Last time Anderson came on the baseline. This time he came right down the lane, got the feed from Cavill for the basket. 1 point a game, and that's where it stays. So the Falcons, their fans on their feet, and Grant Leap, Coach of the Year, calling the timeout with 14.1 seconds left. Well, you certainly don't need a 3. You just need a good 2.
That's a huge free throw to miss for Panovich. So now, no pressure on Seattle Pacific as far as needing to take a 3. Any old field goal gives them the lead.
Yeah.
Now, the question that the coaching staff for Seattle Pacific is going to have in the timeout, do you go for the quick shot or do you go for something with just a couple seconds left? Now, we talked about this yesterday in that Western Oregon-Alaska game. I think you have a little more time here. They only had about 5 seconds in that game. With 14.1 on the clock, you can get a couple of looks in, maybe try a drive. If that doesn't work, pop it back out. But if you're leaving more, or if you're taking off more than 6 or 7 seconds, you're going to start to feel uncomfortable.
Let me ask you this. It's the age-old question. You're up by 1. You have your defensive players on the floor. Do they foul? Do they?
Not in double bonus. If this was 1-1,
you would.
If it was 1-1, maybe take your chance. Not in double bonus. You're just giving them a chance to take the lead at the free throw line.
Okay.
That's the way I see that. In double bonus, I think you let it play out and just hope your defense can get the stop here.
Well, Seattle Pacific's crowd, you can see them across the way from where our vantage point is, and there's a good look at some of them on their feet. They've been on their feet here for the last several minutes. So Colosimo, Moffitt, Anderson, Cavill, and Fullerton on floor. Here's Moffitt. Double team comes, gets it to Cavill, lays it up, misses the shot. Rebound tipped around, taken by Hosley, and he's fouled with 5.3 seconds left. Wow. Cavill got a pretty good look there, but the shot came off the iron. And you can see right there, Moffitt came into the double team, made a great feed to Cavill, went in. Panovich was there defensively. Osigwe tipped the ball out to Hosley. And now with 5.3 seconds left, Hosley to the free throw line with the front end of the 1-and-1 on the 19th foul against the Falcons. And it's offline left. 4 seconds left. Down floor, Moffitt. Is he going to win it at the buzzer? Shoots on the way. It is no good. Is there a foul called or not?
No foul called.
Okay, no foul called, and the final count tonight is going to be the University of Alaska Anchorage, the 5th seed, getting the victory over the top-seeded Seattle Pacific University Falcons. Final count, 86-85. Maybe the most exciting game we have seen so far in this year's tournament. So the Seawolves, they knocked off number 4 Northwest Nazarene yesterday. Here is Moffat's shot. Boy, Pantovic was there, might have got a piece of it. I think the Falcons bench certainly believes that Pantovic got a piece of Moffat's arm. The officials didn't quite see it that way, and with that, the University of Alaska Anchorage Seawolves, they move on to the championship game where they will take on number 2 Western Washington tomorrow. Pantovic on the floor, very happy. You can see the very disappointed Seattle Pacific Falcons there, but saying that, don't feel too bad for the Falcons. Their opportunity to move on to the West Regional is probably still pretty much secure at this point. You see Grant Leap and the team there at mid-floor. And now let's send it down to Dustin Daniel with the victorious coach of the University of Alaska Anchorage Seawolves, Rusty Osborne.
We got Alaska Anchorage head coach Rusty Osborne with us. Seawolves headed to the GNAC Championship tomorrow, where they will take on Western Washington. Coach, led by 15 late in the first half. Seattle Pacific fought back in the second half. Emotional game, physical game, very competitive. Initial thoughts on this one?
Well, we expected them to fight back. I mean, you don't finish 18-2 in any league without character. And Coach Leap does a great job. They've got talented kids with a lot of heart and a lot of character. And so we expected that. And it's going to be whether we stayed in it, kept our cool. And, I thought we did a pretty good job. Foul trouble hurt us a little bit. Carlberg is, all-league guy, and he was on the bench for quite a bit. And we've just talked about being resilient. This time of year, it doesn't matter how you get it done. You just got to find a way. And, we shot it well in the first half. Second half, they came out and they were executing. We weren't defending really well or rebounding, but we got better offensively at the end of the game, and then we somehow overcame a couple of missed front into 1-on-1s. But again, that's if you're resilient and you believe, those things happen.
One of the keys.